In our news bulletin for this evening, Niue's team returns victorious with medals to show for their efforts at the Pacific Games in Papua New Guinea. Premier returns briefly from a series of regional meetings with promising outcomes and developments from discussions at the Polynesian Leaders Group meeting. Ecclesia Niue congregations in some villages have taken on board a new change, hosting their inaugural Mother's Day program in July. A brief session for students on holiday was held to introduce the sport of wrestling on the island. Niue's team to the Pacific Games in Papua New Guinea have returned with medals in tow, marking a successful campaign, especially for bodybuilding and lawn bowls. The team of 27 athletes and officials competed in 7 different sports codes. Last week on Friday, Regan Oane, Niue's only male bodybuilder, returned with a bronze medal. He highlighted that the level of competition has really increased in the past few years. Regan's outlook is to continue on to compete in some of the regional competitions and look towards training up a new group of bodybuilders, but that will be a matter of encouraging people to overcome their shyness and look at the rewards of the sport. On Tuesday, another part of the team returned home to a warm welcome at the airport. We spoke to one of the silver medalists from the lawn bowls team to find out how the competition went and the overall feeling of returning home with a medal for Niue.
The feeling is unexplainable. I think it still hasn't sunk in yet that won a medal, but was such a huge achievement and accomplishment for myself, not only for myself but for Niue lawn bowls especially, and for Niue. I can't explain the feeling. It's such an awesome feeling. New players to the field, to the sport, and the women, the athletes we played against, who've been competing for years at so many other games, the Commonwealth, and have had so much exposure. For us first-timers to the games and to the sport, there's no comparison, but really, really proud that we've achieved this goal, and especially to win this medal for Niue and for Niue lawn bowls. It has put us up there, I suppose, and I guess we were the underdogs at the time, and such a huge achievement. One of the best things we did as a team was go there 3 days in advance and practice on the green to get a different feel for it, because our green here is grass and over there it's synthetic, and that was a great thing that we did, was have a few days practice on that. And the support has been phenomenal. Family, especially family and friends, and amongst all the supporters here from back home who supported us all the way. It's been great, and for me personally, this has given me further motivation to continue with the sport, because it is possible for us to win, in the lawn bowls and I suppose in any other sport.
Pauline says that the welcoming on return at the airport was overwhelming and very much appreciated. The outlook for the future is to continue in the sport and try to encourage more young people to take up lawn bowls. Premier Toke Talangi has returned briefly from a series of meetings over the past 3 weeks. While he has been away, he was able to attend the World Humanitarian Summit consultation in New Zealand, the coronation of the new Tongan king, meet with the New Zealand Minister for Foreign Affairs, Murray McCully, and hold many important discussions with regional leaders. One such meeting was the Polynesian Leaders Group meeting that was held in Papeete, Tahiti. According to Premier Talangi, that had promising outcomes from those discussions.
There were 3 things that we discussed. The first was the fisheries initiative that we had put up for Sylvania's program to be prepared, and a trial to be conducted by Pew, an organisation that will do this for us free of charge for 6 months, and then we'll think. Everybody's agreed that we will participate in that now. It's going to start in 1st of September. The second thing is that we also talked about the establishment of a regional, or the feasibility of establishing a regional airline to cover the Polynesian countries, including anybody else who wishes to participate. And we've agreed that we will seek to find people who can help us prepare a feasibility and then seek funding to see whether we can think. I think the third thing that we discussed, which was the main purpose of the meeting in essence, was the declaration that we were going to take to Paris as Polynesian Leaders Group on climate change. I was happy with the outcome of that. I mean, I chaired the meeting and I was happy with the outcome. I was happy with the emphasis on climate politics rather than climate sciences, because in essence what we're saying is that we're not climate scientists, but we are politicians. Therefore, the declaration we made was politically motivated and politically inclined, and therefore to be taken to the Paris meeting where the politicians are going to gather to talk about declarations and climate change, and hopefully make an impact on what these people decide in the end. One of the things that we've always, and we were asked by a press conference afterwards, whether we believe that this is going to make any difference, and I said, well, in some respects, as political leaders, we need to make sure that, in fact, we're not going to remain silent about these issues, that we do care about the legacy we leave our children and grandchildren and so on, and whether the bigger countries agree or not is entirely up to them. But if the legacy they want to leave means that it will destroy this planet, then that's their legacy. It's not what we want.
The main task of the Polynesian Leaders Group meeting this year was to prepare a joint statement to be presented at the Conference of the Parties 21 meeting on climate change in Paris later this year. Premier Talangi will be departing the island tomorrow on his way to meetings for the next 2 weeks. A decision made by the Ekalesia Kerisiano Niue Management Council last year has developed into a program that will now see Mother's Day celebrated in July. The Ekalesia calendar has always had White Sunday that is focused on children, which also coincides with the International Mother's Day program. These programs would often clash, and it was discussed whether there needed to be a separate program specifically to highlight the valuable contribution of women and mothers within the congregations.
Finding new ways to help to strengthen or to grow, empower the ministry of women in Niue. And Hakupu was following that in terms of how we can do things, especially for the women, because we appears to follow the influence of the outside, of the global world, and we haven't really acknowledged things that are unique and authentic of being Niuean. So this is the movement of the Ekalesia Niue of doing that, and they're taking the full power, I mean the development and moving the Mother's Day that usually happen in May, they coincide with the White Sunday. So they have taken the move and acknowledged the mothers in July.
The Ekalesia communities of Tuapa and Hakupu took on board this slight change as a new way forward and went ahead to plan and implement their activities for their mothers.
Our Mothering Sunday in Hakupu, me and my wife initiate the program, and with the support of the youth. And me and my wife, we're the one who organize the meal, we plan the menu, so the women don't involve, but for them to come and enjoy. We're just there to save it. They've been working all their lives, most of these women, of cooking and coming and set up food for different events. So this time, and this is a new thing, that for Niue, and that's me and my wife are really happy to plan it and execute it. And it really went well because the young people serve, and we set up like a restaurant. So they came in and they sit down, and we serve entree, we serve wine, and music.
Tuapa took on a one-day approach where the mothers were treated in a worshipping fellowship service that was conducted by the men, with the children singing hymns and presenting mothers with special gifts before they were treated to a special shared and served lunch. It is expected that the Ekalesia Niue Mother's Day program will be an ongoing program in July. Although the move has been approved by the main council, it is entirely up to the individual village congregations to decide whether or not they will follow through. Yesterday, youngsters on school holiday took time out to check out a relatively new sport on the island, that is wrestling. In a half-day session held at the Niue High School Multipurpose Hall, Tokelau gold medalist Eli Manu was able to share his knowledge and love of the sport with potential athletes. The program was organized with local counterparts on island for anyone interested to attend. A handful of eager and curious teenagers with some spectators showed up to the activity where they were paired up and taken through some of the basics.
Wrestling is something that comes natural, I guess, to Pacific Islanders, and with the Niue boys here, they're obviously quite physically strong and naturally strong boys, so I think it's suitable for anyone, boys and girls, all shapes and sizes. Wrestling goes by weight categories, so you've got some strong boys who probably are not big enough for rugby maybe or other sports, that wrestling will be perfect for them. It takes a lot of hard work. It is a physically demanding sport, and one not to take it lightly, I guess. Train pretty much every day of the week. A lot of weight training and a lot of wrestling.
There is a newly established wrestling federation on island affiliated to the national sporting body NISCA, and this is one of the first introductions to the sport for many who attended. The newest development will have great potential for collaboration of sorts in future if there is a lot of interest in the sport of wrestling.
So spoken to Oswin about some of your athletes coming over to Auckland, where I'm based and train out of. So I'm looking probably to come back as well to Niue, just for holiday and to help out where I can, but probably better to help you guys to develop it here in Niue yourselves. But there will be support there in Auckland if any Niueans come over there. My partner as well, she's quite heavily involved with my wrestling, and she wrestles with me as well with our trainings in Auckland, so there's some support there.
We spoke to some of the participants who showed up to see what interested them about the sport and what new skills they managed to learn and pick up.
So we've learned about stance, so just fighting technique. I learned a couple of takedowns, single leg and double leg, and how to defend a takedown. A lot of rolling around, get pretty tired as well. But yeah, there are possibilities that we could get into the sport. A couple of the boys are really good as well, but it's just about time and about getting more training, I guess, because you can't just go off one training and say that I want to represent Niue in wrestling.
Basically, it's another holiday activity, so I thought I'd bring the boys down, and well, it's something new for us, especially since we don't have wrestling here. I want to get the boys into it as well. It's way fun, I reckon. It's actually pretty fun, good defending, good attack. Not like those fake things you see on TV, so something new for us to get used to. Yeah, different techniques on how to take down, the rules of the game. It's pretty fun actually. Learning how to defend yourself and other activities. So yeah. And yeah, it could come in good use for other sports like rugby also.
I think for me, especially with my line of work in policing, we might have times where we're in trouble and we might need to use this sort of teaching just to help out with my job.
Eli has indicated that he would be keen to return and help out the local federation in future if needed. He has been on the island on holiday, and this is his first trip, so we asked him what he thought about the island.
Oh, it's beautiful here. I've been around the Pacific with wrestling and personal holidays as well, and I've never come across an island like Niue. Been told about it, but yeah, seeing it firsthand, it's beautiful. It's actually one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to. I love it here in Niue.
An impromptu session was also organised for the local police force, but for those interested in wrestling in the future, there is a local federation on island that you can approach. That concludes our news bulletin for this evening. do have an enjoyable weekend ahead, and we will see you again next week.